to block the
will be starting at 7 o'clock. So I'll get your questions in. Yep, if I mute myself, that'd be a good start. Ah, good stands there. So we'll be starting at 7 o'clock. I'm just waiting for everybody else to turn up. Darren's a long shot. Grimsby are doing poor, actually, to be fair, Darren. They've lost a couple of games. So hopefully we'll get change and hopefully carry on with the win. So we'll be starting at 6 o'clock. So if you can get your questions in and stuff like that, and we'll get started at 6 o'clock. Wait for everyone else to join this stream on Twitter, and then we'll get started in 5 minutes. Ba, 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 ba. You can also like the stream and also share it if you can, please. We want Roop out, saying we want Roop out. Yeah, Daniel, yeah, things are happening out there, Roop. Not very good things, are waiting for Diane and the rest to join, and then we will get started. Bobby Poynton's Bradford Messi, yep, he's a fantastic player. He's a star man in here, Daniel. Fantastic little player, Bobby Poynton, and hopefully he should have a new deal. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. There we go. And Lee's there. Yeah, I'm going tomorrow, mate. Going to Grimsby, driving down, picking a friend up, and then driving down. So hopefully we'll get a win. Miss Callie, how are you getting on? Yeah, hopefully we should get a win tomorrow. Just waiting for the rest of people to join. Starting in a couple of minutes. Just waiting for Diane and Callie to come along. Just sharing be on okay. It's a bit different today because my computer won't accept TikTok today. So that's why it's a little bit different. So if you can, everybody share it, please, like it. We'll be starting in the next minute or so. And wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to Bradford City Chickens on the Loose podcast live on TikTok and other social sites. In today's podcast, we'll be talking about the post-match Tranmere, the pre-match Grimsby game, the latest protests at Bradford City and rumours, the weather forecast of the Bradford City game, and score predictions, and last but not least, what's on your plate. I should be joined today by Stan, Diane, and hopefully Miss Callie should be here as well.
Good evening, guys.
So Stan, what was your thoughts on the Tranmere game?
Did well. When they're allowed to play football, they can pass the ball, can't they? So yeah, Bobby was man of the match for me, but Kavanagh close second. Yeah, very good performance. Good to see a clean sheet and little wobbly starts, didn't we, with sort of like a couple of things, but we kind of grew into the game, and I thought we did really well. Thoroughly deserved the 3 points.
And Miss Diane, you should be able to hear me.
I can hear you. Sorry about that. If I start coughing, don't worry about it. I've got that stupid cough.
So what's your thoughts on the post-match Tranmere game?
Sorry about that. I'm about to cough. I'm glad we got the 3 points. Glad that Bobby started, Kavanagh started. It makes a change to change the formation and the players. So it proves that they're all playing for the shirts and everything. So yeah, we're good to get the 3 points. I mean, I think we played well.
And Miss Callie, you should be able to hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, Johnny, but you sound a bit like a robot. I don't know if it's just me that's getting that.
Do you sound like a robot to anybody else?
I'm getting that as well.
Yeah, it's kind of breaking up for me as well, Johnny.
Yeah.
Here we go. Technical issues. Hold on. Let's do the traditional thing of turning the mic.
Yeah, I think that's better.
That's a lot better, mate.
Yeah.
So what happens? You take your microphone out and you plug your microphone back in again. So where were we? Callie, what's your thoughts on the game?
I enjoyed the game. And I've just got 2 words. Bobby Poynton. I think he changed the whole thing, if I'm honest. And it just proves, why the hell has he not been playing him from the beginning?
And Chris, what about yourself?
Well, I'll tell you what, I had two halves of that game. Basically, point and starting. He ruled the roost, and Kavanagh also. And basically, we played an absolute brilliant game until the point that Alexander then took Walker off and also took Poynton off, put Oder on, and we just turned into defence yet again. But overall, it was a good game to watch. It was class. Why can't we play that all the time? And I completely agree with Callie of why has he not put Poynton in.
I think he's made a couple of a right bug, hasn't he? Really, in terms of like everyone's been crying out for Bobby. Anyone with, like I say, a pair of eyes and a functioning brain, and it's almost like I don't know what the reason is behind not playing him, but yeah, he's just been totally made to look a total fool now.
And has anybody got anything else they want to say about the match?
I think sorry, if anyone was speaking and I don't know if I didn't hear him, but yeah, I think I agree with Chris in that when Bobby and Walker came off, it took that sort of forward momentum out of the game a little bit for us, and it just shows what kind of devastating players they can be for us. And yeah, that's all I've got to add to that.
Do we think? I personally, it's just my opinion. You can all shoot me down. But I think Jamie Walker should be made captain. I don't think Smallwood is a worthy captain at all. I mean, I know we've only got a few games left, but going forward into next season, get Bobby Poynton playing every game and get Jamie Walker as captain.
Don't disagree, Kelly.
No, I completely agree as well.
Okay. So then moving on to the Grimsby game tomorrow. Grimsby game is at 1 p.m. Against Bradford City, 1st of April 2024, 1 o'clock at Blundell Park. And the referee is Matthew Corlett. So Mr. Corlett has had a couple of appearances. In the EFL Trophy, he's had 4 appearances, 17 yellow cards, 1 second yellow, 0 reds and 3 penalties. In League One, he's had 6 appearances, 32 yellow cards, 0 second yellows, 2 reds, 1 penalty. In the EFL League 2, he's had 13 appearances, 61 yellow cards, 3 second yellows, 0 reds and 2 penalties. In the FA Cup, he's had 1 appearance, 2 yellow cards, no second yellows, no reds, no penalties. EFL Cup, he's had 1 appearance, no yellow cards, no second yellows, no reds, 1 penalty. Altogether, he's had 25 appearances, 112 yellow cards, 4 second yellows, 2 reds and 7 penalties. And then go into a little bit of detail for you. So the top goal scorer for us is Andy Cook, who's had 15 goals, 5 assists and 36 matches played. There's his Rose, who's had 12 goals, 3 assists, 33 matches played. Grimsby are ranked 18th in goals scored per match, 1.3 goals. Have scored 5 goals in their last 5 matches, ranked 17 in goals conceded per match, 1.7. Bradford are ranked 20 in goals scored per match, 1.2 goals. Bradford City haven't lost to Grimsby in their last 8 meetings. And Andy Cook has created the most big chances. Bradford City are currently 14th. They've got 40 points, goal difference of -5 and 53 points. Grimsby have played 39. They've got a goal difference of -18. And they have got 39 points. Last couple of meetings, going back to 8th of February 2020, Bradford City drew 1-1. 22nd December 2020, Bradford City won 2-1. 10th of April 2021, Bradford City won 1-0. 22nd of October 22, Grimsby 0, Bradford 0. 1st of April 2023, Bradford won 3-2. 9th of September 2023, Bradford drew 1-1. And 10th of October 2023, Grimsby lost 2-1 against Bradford in the EFL Trophy. Bradford have won all 4 games. There's been 4 draws in there, and Grimsby have won 0. And Bradford City last couple of games is they've lost against Forest Green, they've lost against Mansfield, they've lost against Notts County, they've lost against Harrogate, and we beat Tranmere 2-0. Grimsby's last couple of games they've drawn 1-1 against Sutton. Grimsby won 1-0 against Milton Keynes Dons, 1-1 against Gillingham. They lost 3-1 against Grimsby, and they lost 3-1 against Barrow. So what's your thoughts on that, guys and girls? Start off with Stan.
Well, I guess the stats are in our favour in that respect. I hope there's a bit of sort of much needed confidence again, you know, and to get a result out over there at Ludlow Park. So, yeah, it all boils down to what team he's going to pick, whether he's going to have the options, whether sort of Cook or McDonald are going to be available for selection. And if they are, if either one or two of them, how is he going to sort of mix it up? Or is he going to sort of put a certain young Bradfordian back on the bench or whatever, or is he going to sort of carry on from Friday? So my hope is that he, with maybe a tweak or two, kind of play a similar team that we to what we had on Friday. Sorry, I'll get my teeth back in there.
What about yourself, Diane?
Sorry, it's all right. I'm just being listening. You can tell me folks gone croaky again now. I think he might start with the same team because in the TNA yesterday it did say Andy Cook might still be a doubt for Monday as well, saying about a knock on his knee. So he might start with the team again, but he might put Tomkinson on as the defender and take Daniel Okikoki off. But if we carry on like we did when we played Tranmere, I think we'll get the 3 points.
And what about yourself, Chris?
I'm hoping with all my bodily anything, just everything. I'm hoping he plays the same team. Apart from I would put McDonald in front of Smallwood because I don't think Smallwood did anything. I actually put on Twitter or something like that why are you playing him when he's 1 in 15 goal rate has now gone to something like 1 in 27. Sorry, not goal rate, pass rate. I'm honestly thinking, look, if he goes with Friday's team, I'd keep Okikoki in there. I think he's been playing quite well. Obviously, Kelly had a bit of a wobble, should we say, on Friday, but he came good. So if he wants to start going forward with that momentum, I'd keep that first half team. And if he does that, I'm thinking we'll absolutely destroy Grimsby with our confidence against Grimsby going forward and what we've had in the past. I can't see us losing if we have that mentality from Friday.
What about yourself, Kelly Love?
Yeah, I agree what Chris has just said. same thing. The only thing with Grimsby is they're fighting relegation, aren't they, right now? So they've got nothing to lose. They're going to go for it, aren't they? At the end of the day. But like Chris said, our confidence should be high after Friday's game, and we should be going for absolutely everything. I mean, mathematically, then playoffs are still possible. I know it's a really big long shot, but I'm going to remain positive. And yeah, if we win every single one of our last games, which is what the players should be thinking, what's to stop us?
And do you think we'll stick with the same team, Kelly?
Yeah, I think we will. Like Diane's just said, I think Andy Cook is a bit of a doubt, isn't he, for Monday's game? So, and yeah, I agree. Put McDonald in. The players, if we can see it as fans that the players play better with certain members of the team in them positions, why the hell can't Alexander see it? We're all watching the same game, aren't we? At the end of the day. So yeah, I do. But I agree. I think McDonald should be in the mix as well.
And Chris, would you stick with the same team?
I would stick with the same team. As I've said, there's only one player on that team from Friday, from the start, that I would change, and that is Smallwood, because he offers nothing.
Yeah, because he keeps doing mistakes on his Smallwood. I've noticed that. Miss Diane, What about you? Would you keep the same team?
I'd probably, like Chris said, I'd probably get rid of Deadwood. Smallwood, I'm so sorry. Put McDonald in, and I'd give Tomkinson a run out, because I think it's good when Tomkinson plays in defence, but then keep the two up front, and that's it with a team. So yeah, I wouldn't. I'd do some changes.
And yourself, Stan, would you stick with the same team?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd have McDonald over Smallwood any day of the week. So it all depends on his fitness, really. Whether he's recovered enough from his calf and whether it was precautionary for Friday. So yeah, 100% on that. And if I'd say anything, although he did play well on Friday, did Oyegoke, I would probably still put JT in front, because I think that back three of Kelly, Platt in the middle and JT on the right has served as the best, I think, in probably for most part of this season. So I would kind of those are the only two changes I would make for the game. If I'm, obviously all sort of like fitness willing and stuff.
And I've just seen Lee's. I think Lee's microphone's not working today. Where are we? He said. It said Game Alexander think K-Mac was restored for Monday's game versus Grimsby. Yep, so I'm hoping the same there. I hope he sticks with the same 11 and basically cracks on with it. Does anyone else got anything else they want to say about the game we've got Grimsby on the weekend? Is anybody going? Are you going, Stan?
Not this time, no.
Are you going, Diane?
I'm not, but I'm glad, because I'll probably have a coughing fit if I start coughing. So I'm glad that I'm not going. I'd hate to put anybody on the coach with this cough.
Are you going, Chris?
No, it'll be an eye follow for me, mate.
And Miss Kelly, I think you're going, aren't you?
I am going. I'm hardcore me. I'm doing my night shift tonight, finishing at 7 in the morning, getting changed, shower out, off to Grimsby.
So I'm going to get rid of the boring stuff like we did the other day. So the score predictions is sponsored by Stan. So Stan, if you just want to say your line for me.
Yes, so Scott, the chickens on the run on the loose podcast. Sorry, I caught that one up, didn't I? I'll start again. The score predictions are sponsored by myself, Stan Jammer Photography, where capturing your image is my focus.
And Stan's absolutely losing the plot. He thinks his Chickens on the Loose podcast. We're not going for another rebrand, just to let everybody know. We're sticking with Chickens on the Loose.
Sorry, guys. I got that one up, didn't I?
So, what is your score prediction, Stan?
I'll say 2-1 City.
Diane?
I'm going to say 3-0 to us.
Ooh. Chris?
Diane's just nicked it. I will go in 3-0.
Okay.
City.
And Miss Callie?
Yeah, I'm going 3-1. I think we're going to put 3 past them. Can I just say I miss the sound effects?
I know it's due to budget cuts we can't afford sound effects on this new setup. So I think we're gonna possibly win. I'm gonna go 1-0. I think it's gonna be close, and I think Tyler Smith will get the goal. Right, moving on to Bradford City latest news, rant, rave, vent about anything. But I'm going to start off with the protests, and I'm going to start from Stan, and we'll go away across. So I'm going to disappear for a minute. So Stan, what's your thought on the protests?
Yeah, I don't have a thought either way. I think obviously they're well within the right. I don't think anything happened. Obviously, there were a little bit of dramas, wasn't there, on Twitter afterwards with Simon Parker and some of the people. I don't think it was. I don't know if somebody tried to paint it. This person who did the blog is like basically one man and his dog turning up. Does anyone actually know roughly how many people turned up?
There were a lot. I wasn't there myself, but I've seen the aerial photo or aerial video that they took of the fans, and they were all, you know where Memorial is?
Yeah.
At back. Basically, all that were completely rammed, and then it went out of the gate and went up the road.
That's
So-
what I thought, because I thought there was some where there's the up where the mural is, and you said memorial, didn't you? Did you say memorial, Chris?
I said memorial.
Oh, sorry, mural. Yes, sorry, I thought you meant yes. That's what I thought. So I think it was a little bit of underhand tactics to try to paint them as like basically just whether that's on the club's behest or just people kind of being condescending towards it. I think well within the rights, and yeah. So I don't have an opinion on it myself, but if it makes positive change, then I'm for it.
And what about yourself, Miss Dan?
If they want to do it, let them do it. It's up to people if they want to do a peaceful protest. So let them do it. But is it going to make much difference now when you sent that letter out on Thursday? Is it going to make much difference? Did anything get done? Did Ryan Sparks hear it all or anything? But I noticed that all news were there on papers. But I think there were quite a few people there. But like they said there were only about 50. There were more than that.
Yeah,
Definitely what I've seen.
This is what I don't understand. I don't know if it was the paper trying to basically, what word from I look for, to quell it. But when I was there, when I looked up, I know there were quite a lot of people there, because I just went to be nosy. And when I got there were quite a lot of people on the wall behind, where the main car park is, where you park your cars when you come down the road. There were quite a lot of people on the road side of the wall there. There were quite a lot of people looking out of the suites as well at the top, and there were quite a lot of people where the car park is, where the car garage used to be. Up there were quite a lot of people there, and I think people were just there to be nosy. But then looking on social media, obviously, according to the TNA, about 50 people were there. I think that was false. There were quite a lot of people there, to be fair, but I think people were just there to be nosy and just to see what were going on. Like myself, I was just being nosy. And I've put the video up on social media, on all socials. And in my opinion, there were, like, should we say, quite a lot of youth there, should we say, if anyone wants to disagree with me on that one. But in my opinion, there were quite a lot of youth there, so... But then the rumours coming out of apparently glass door being broken and stuff like that. I don't know how true that is. I tried to get the independent guy on today, but I think he's busy, so he couldn't make it. So what's people's thoughts on the protest and apparently the issues, what happened, such as apparently there was allegedly chanting about, or offensive chanting going on with about the owner, and apparently it lasted about 2 minutes and then it quelled. So what's people's thoughts on that? Stan?
I'm like you, Johnny. I've had one of my mates message me today and said that they heard that they actually did smash some 2 windows or 2 glass doors. To me, that's not peaceful protest. That's just been hooligans, really, in my book. Yeah, say what you want to do, have your banners. I mean, the videos that I've seen banging about were they were shouting, "Get the F out of our club." So, I mean, yeah, they're swearing, but that to me is not peaceful.
Yeah.
They all said it was going to be a real peaceful, and I knew it wouldn't be, because you're always going to have that minority, aren't you, that's there that just want to cause trouble and make fools of themselves. But I mean, a lot of the pictures I saw as well, a lot of people looked like they were walking past to go to the actual game. So it looked like there was maybe more there than they actually was protesting. And like you said, there was a lot just stood watching what the protesters were doing.
Yeah.
But I don't. To be fair, I hope it does do something. I hope it does more so for the players that are actually wearing the shirt and that are actually running about on the pitch, because at the end of the day, it's them that are making. They're the ones that are making the results happen on the pitch.
So, sorry, Callie, to butt in. I've just found it on social media now. So this was tweeted out at 12 minutes past 5 on the 29th of the 3rd, 2024. And this was tweeted out by Bradford City Fans Independent. We would like to thank everybody who turned up for the protest today, who continues to believe in us. We estimate there's around 400 to 500 Raise your voice, we appreciate it, and send a clear message to our club. More coming soon, keep the faith, let's go. But then reading it, where are we? Obviously, he's put a picture out of two people holding the banner. Promised progression, delivered regression, roop out. That's what the banner says. And what I don't understand about our fans is you want Simon Parker, but somebody else basically tweeted, did a comment in the TNA, and everybody didn't read it typically, and then they thought it was Simon Parker who wrote it out, and they actually pelted him on social media, what I don't think's good. But then there's people here, Phil on Twitter, have to laugh for comments aimed at Parkinson on the article he didn't even write. And then there's just people saying, like the Independent, let's get some points across here. These two fans were outside the area, asked to move on, reported to the stewards. There was no abuse of any kind. If the evidence, we suggest you email the club. I would love to know if there was someone there and actually saw the window get smashed and stuff like that, because sometimes there's a bit of truth and sometimes there's a bit of fake news. So I want to know what is actually going on with Bradford City, what actually happened at this protest. Did someone break a window? Does anybody know if anyone broke a window?
Where was the window broken or allegedly broken?
Do you know the reception, not reception area, where you go through the Morrisons, like the Morrisons stand, you come down the stairs and then there's where the memorial is, and next to it there's them doors there?
Yeah.
Apparently it's there.
Because I go through there and I didn't notice anything. It's not to say that there wasn't anything, but I didn't notice anything walking in because I sit in the main stand on up at here. So yeah, I hadn't seen anything, but that's, like I said, not to say that nothing was done. So that's just my thoughts on that.
So at 2:34 on the blog, what Simon Parker does, this is disappointing to hear. The bottom glass panel of the reception door was smashed by someone involved in the protest. Believes an arrest has been made. So, like, hearing stuff like this, what is actually people's thoughts on the protest? Stan?
Sorry, I'm just stuffing my face. Ask somebody else.
Diane?
2 seconds, Scott. Wait on. Can you speak to Chris a minute, because I'm about to cough again.
Chris?
I think that, look, they're doing it for a reason. What I heard was more or less saying, rup out, and that were their poison, what they were trying to do. 500, 400 people, that seems about right from what I actually saw. They're petitioning for a reason. Now, the people that are there to do that are all right. They won't smash any windows. If Stan has gone into that area and sort of said, look, I go into here and I can't see any smashed glass broke, is it true? That's the first point that you've got to sort of work out. In it all, the petition was a peaceful one. It wasn't supposed to be anything more than just having a word saying, look, we've had enough of Ryan Sparks and Rupp. I just don't know what else went on there, but I've seen some of our, should we call, youth, and to be fair, some of it gets a little bit rowdy, as it normally does at games and stuff. So I just don't know. If you're going to quell that, are they going up to, or are they trying to be what we used to know when we were growing up? You know, the things like, I've lost track. I'm sorry, mate. We had it all when we were growing up, and it just seems to repeat itself decade after decade.
Sorry to butt in, Chris. We've had someone on actual Twitter seen a picture on X. It was broken. So Jonathan, who's responded on Twitter, if you could just tag me in that, please, if it's possible, if you can find it. So we'll have a look at that. Sorry, Chris, continue.
Yeah, I was just saying, I mean, basically with these petitions that we're doing it for a reason, aren't they? So it's just a minority, and that minority is going to always be at that club because there's some that get overboozed and they go to a game and they just start somewhere. You're never going to quell that. The people that were there to actually put a message across, I think that message should have been heard because they were loud enough.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a point to put across. When Ruppers put that letter out, that letter itself, I think, were a bit contradictory because it doesn't iron out what he's actually saying. He's saying, yeah, one thing, and then taking that same thing, no, about 2 minutes later down the reading.
So do you
And
think
it is
the
just
letter
that.
was to basically to quell the protest? Because I know as soon as that letter came out, the independent guy did a vote. Do you want us to basically to carry on with the protest, yes or no? And there were quite a lot of people who said yes. But like looking at it, I think I put something on here the other day about it where if he's planning to buy the ground, he should buy it. And obviously, if we get rid of the 500 grand or whatever we're paying for the ground and lower it, we would be able to be in a better position.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying there, and I think that's completely correct. He's got to put his money where his mouth is now, and if he doesn't, we'll know exactly where it is. Because some these things that he's actually put in that letter, they've got to be done immediately. They can't be sort of left until close season. You've got to put these things in place to make them work for the future, like what he's saying in his letter.
So with that letter, Chris,
The
do
one thing,
you believe what he's put in that letter? As a fan, do you think it's going to do this, or do you think it's just going to be
No,
like
we've seen it before.
all chat and no work?
I would like to believe him, but I can't see it because he said it before, and it's just gone on things that we really can't see. As a fan, you don't really see any of these sort of bits and bats that he's actually said in his letter. The one thing that did surprise me was when I sort of went back and had a look or a listen. One of my mates recorded the BBC Radio 1, you know, the West Yorkshire Sport.
Yeah.
And Jamie Rayner on there apparently said that he was going on about this letter and basically said that he's gone in and they're trying to get now a director of sport in before the end of the season.
Yeah.
Now, if that's correct, and if that's no lie, then he's going true to his letter because that was one of the first things that he said he'd do. So let's see.
I'm going to touch on that in a minute, Chris, actually, the director, because there's a couple of things that I want to bring up. So I'm just going to quickly go to Stan.
Yeah, certainly, mate.
Stan, what about you? What's your thoughts on the protest? Are you still eating?
I'm still eating. However, I'll stop stuffing my face for 30 seconds. Yeah, I think for me, I mean, I read it to a point and I switched off because he's done this before, you know. He's kind of things will be, you know, sort of like different from now on, and he's not done it. He's not interested, that's his prerogative, but you know, it leaves him with a couple of options, doesn't he? Really, either needs to sell straight away, accept the asking price, or just basically put something in place, but that would make his assets worth more, because we're not worth anything probably for the asking price that he's asking for. He's not going to, I mean, for me, if he was serious, he'd put a new CEO in, but he's not going to do that because he just wants to sell. And to do that, it's going to cost him a couple of $100,000 in wages at least to get somebody of a caliber that will get us out of this, you know, sort of like situation that we're in. And also with regards to, you know, director of football, and then you've got the pitch, and then you've got sort of other aspects to kind of take into account. I don't think he will, unless he's going to start playing the long game and actually start playing at being an owner. For me, it's all very reactionary, and that was a disappointing thing that I heard from the whole sort of Sparks going to Germany. That it sounds awful, but that he came back still as CEO for us. So Yeah, and it's like, well, who appoints this director of football? A person that's basically made poor spotting decisions in the first place. Somebody that supposedly put somebody in place, and Derek Adams comes in and then sacks him. Then he sacks Derek Adams. Then he gets Mark Hughes in, and we get a head of recruitment, etc. And it's all very reactionary. So I'm not hopeful, to be fair, with the situation in terms of like anything that's going on. And it's like, well, how have you formulated a plan? You know, it should be taking you weeks and weeks. You should be doing lots of research and kind of going into, right, okay, how do you come up with a if you like, a business plan in terms of the way forward? So yeah, my view is that it's all very reactionary, and I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, so I'm quite cynical about it, to be honest.
Diane, are you there, Diane?
I am. I'm sorry. I was just doing something else then. Sorry, my throat's going again. What were we talking about? Rupp's letter.
Rupp's letter and the protests.
The protest. I think I've said about the protest what I thought. Rupp's letter. I think he knew that protests were happening on Friday. I think that's why he sent it out. And I think Ryan Sparks was getting a bit worried about his job as well, which he must have been, to fly out to Munich when he said that on the team's message. 2 secs.
Oh, everyone's coming down with flu.
Oh, don't. They've had it at work and they've given it to me. I'm off this week as well. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I think Ryan Sparks must have been worried about his job. But I've heard, like you were talking about director of football, they're all saying Paul Jewell. That's what people are saying that they've heard.
Yeah.
Rumour-wise. But that's my opinion on it, because otherwise I'm going to go really croaky again. So I'm going to put my mic on mute.
Okay. And Lee, can you hear me? Okay. Callie?
Yeah, with Rupp, I mean, it doesn't go to many games, does it? I don't think I mean, yeah, he cares enough to put money in, but I don't think he cares about our club. If you know what I mean? If he went more, if he got more involved with the fans, if he looked to be doing more, he'd get a lot more appreciation from the fans.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares, and I don't think it's going to be long till he actually sells and gets rid, because they were left with it, weren't they, when the other German left, and he was kind of left with it, if you like. So I'd like to, if I would like to think I'm wrong, and he does say what he's going to do, and then we can all say, oh well, he you know what I mean, he's trying now.
Yeah.
I just don't, heart on heart, I don't think he is.
So there's 2 rumours we've seen on social media. One rumour is that apparently Paul Jewell apparently is returning to Bradford City as a director of football. So I don't know how true that is, but would people be happy with Paul Jewell if it's true? Would you be, Stan?
Can somebody tell me what that is first? Because I'm not 100% sure what that is.
Okay. Go for it, Chris.
Basically, that whole thing about Paul Jewell came from that forum that I went on. And I mentioned it in our last Twitter speaker, you know, where it was basically a case of, in that forum, someone sort of mentioned this thing about director of football, and someone came over the back of them saying, oh yeah, Paul Jewell would be a good shout. And that's all I know about what is being said. I don't know anybody else jumping on that bandwagon at all.
And would you be happy with Paul Jewell, Chris? Because he's like a former City player, former manager in it, Paul Jewell. So
let's put it this way: he knows football, doesn't he? So yeah, I would. But should we realistically be aiming for higher?
But if there's nobody else who wants it, Chris, it might be kind of thing. It might be we'll have.
Let me put it this way: having Sparks doing commercial, because I think, to be fair to him, he's good commercially. He knows his stuff. Take the footballing side away from Sparks. Just let him do commercial, and let someone like Paul Jewell come in and do football. And I think with that, it can only get better.
So, Callie, would you like to have Paul Jewell in then as a director of football, like buying players and scouting players and just basically trying to improve and who we bring in?
Yeah, I would have Paul Jewell in. He did well for us. He knows Bradford City through and through. He's been there. He's been in that seat. He's managed them. Yeah, I'd be quite happy with Paul Jewell to come back. Just niggles me a little bit because when people come back, they don't do as good as they were first time round, do they? And we're known for that.
Yeah.
But apart from that, yeah, I'd give him a go, definitely.
Stan, what about you? Thoughts on Paul Jewell?
I've no issues with Paul Jewell. I think he'd probably be a good fit, but a lot of it depends on what his remit is and what will his recommendations be to the club, and will the club take it on board? And it all comes down to philosophy. As a club, we need a philosophy, and that should come from the top, then through the director of football. So until we stop being reactionary and basically stop flip-flopping, it's yes, in principle, it's all in as I say, the devil is in the detail for me.
Yeah. I think he would do well, Paul Jewell. And by reading the letter, it seems like a director of football will be appointed by the end of the season, ready for the summer max clear out of Bradford City players. But also I want to go on to the second bit of stuff, what I've seen on social media. Apparently the City Ven and the Width of the Post, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, have been apparently tweeting out about a takeover, apparent takeover or something takeover wise. Just going to get people's thoughts on that.
I'll jump in if I may. That kind of then, if the I don't know the details of that, but if there is going to be a takeover, then surely you wait with regards to appointing a director of football, and this boils down to is this lip service from Stefan about if somebody does take over, then surely you let them put in a structure in place that they see fit. That's kind of the whole point. I mean, you can guide them in the direction and say this is what's up. And I personally, I don't want to see a mass clear out of players. I think people kind of know my views on the manager situation at the moment, but I would rather see an evolution rather than revolution, because I think we've got a nucleus of a decent squad. So I think, yes, if they've got the club's interest at heart, they'll put money in. They'll improve things like not necessarily the training ground, but the pitch, the way that sort of sort of like players are scouted, the way the things like that, and have a footballing philosophy. Then I'm on board with that.
I know, Diane, your voice is going, so we'll get yours quickly. Thoughts on rumours of takeover?
The takeover, it'd be good if we did get a takeover, but would they put in the money in to get the pitch up to date and everything? And also, would there be fans of the club? It depends who it is. And also about Paul Jewell, I think he would be a good director of football, because as Callie says, he knows Bradford City. He got us promoted to Premier League. He lives locally as well, so he'd be able to scout around locally as well. Right, I'm going because my voice is going again.
And Chris?
Yeah, I mean, takeover. If you're going to come and take over this job, we need to find out who it is, because that would give you your promise of what are they going to provide. You've got somebody who's in Germany for 364 days a year, and then he comes over to us once when we get absolutely stuffed 5-0 or 5-1. You can't have that, because their heart is not in that club. These people, if they are going to come in, it needs to be put in paper. We need to know who they are, and we need to know what they want. As Stan says, what they're going to do. First of all, this all needs sorting out before anything happens with the director of football, and it needs sorting out immediately. We can't let this go. If someone's coming in, sort it out now. Let us know who you are. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know what you are going to provide for this football club. And then we can sort of say whether we're going to agree with it or not.
They need to communicate it all to us fans as well, and not keep us in the dark.
Exactly.
That will help them 100%.
Do you think, though, Roop was here for a reason? against Mansfield? Do you think something you were here for chat to somebody or to chat to someone or to do something? Do you think you were here for a reason?
I would have said so. I don't know. I don't know what that reason may have been, but I tell you what, it won't want a good game to actually say, look, this is a club that you may be taking over. If it were that sort of prowess that they were meeting for, it just don't make any sense in coming over for anything like that for that game in particular, because you knew it were going to be hard against top at league.
Plus, it seemed quite odd to me that he came for that game, but then Ryan had to go to Germany a few days later. That don't make sense to me.
I think Ryan Sparks panicked, and obviously this protest would come in. He knew about it. The club knew about it. Everybody knew about it at the club because Graham Alexander even knew about it. So I think he panicked and he's gone over and basically said, "You need to do this." And having a quick look at the letter, apparently he's going to put more money in. He's basically going to get a director of football, it looks like, possibly buy the ground, and also apparently communicate more and just basically come to games more. So I think just see what happens really with that and see if he comes and see if he goes or what happens.
I can remember being at, I think it was Walsall away quite a few years back, and both the Germans were actually sat in with the fans. And the fans were like all over him, and it were like, "Oh, hi!" Do you know what I mean? They were making really big fuss about him, and I can't imagine them being like that right now. But that's how it should be with the chairman of the club, shouldn't it? It should be checking, like Jeffrey Richmond used to do it. I remember seeing Jeffrey Richmond on motorway in his Rolls Royce, whatever it was, intermingling with all fans on M1 going down to Wembley, and them sort of chairmen get involved, and that's what we need. We need somebody like that.
You know about like trying to be like, so for example, Ryan Reynolds, Rob McInerney, they're like basically they're all over like Wrexham like a rash out there. They go everywhere, they help.
Yeah.
And also Gillingham, I know Gillingham, and even I know Diane would be probably shuddering, but like where Harry Lewis has gone to Carlisle, owners make appearances and they're showing fans what they can do.
That's exactly what they should be doing to me. And if I were chairman at club, that's what I'd be doing. I'd want to be there because it's my club. I
Just
want
like
my
Mark
club
Lawn.
to win. Yeah, absolutely.
So
For me, I'm sorry, Johnny. For me to answer that personally, I won't be bothered so much for that if the club was run perfectly. Obviously, nothing's ever going to be run perfectly, but if it was run well, it could be on Mars for all I care. But if he's put the structures in place for the CEO to basically whatever it is to put the structure in, give the manager a fighting chance with a competitive budget. That's all that matters to me, and I get, obviously, I think because you want to relate to somebody that's basically is running your club because they're custodians, and Mark Lawn is and Julian Rhodes, for all the faults, are true City fans, so I get that. So, but that's just my sort of slight counter to Callum's point.
Sophie,
but in the main, I agree with it, but I would say counter just with that.
Yeah, I'll be there as well. So has anybody got anything else they want to chat about, vent about, anything else?
It's the same kind of point, isn't it, about Bobby Poynton? It's like the same thing, but at different levels and different structures. Bobby's a Bradford lad. He supports Bradford City, and it's his dream to play for them. And that shows when he does actually play for us. And I think it's just the same kind of thing from the chairman down. It should be that same structure for me all the way through. Like your Paul Jewells, like your Chris Kamaras, who've managed us in the past. You can tell when a manager's not, his heart's not there. I'm sure it just shows to me, being a fan and watching all these different chairmans over years, the CEOs over the years, even the players over the years. You can actually sit there and watch and say, yeah, he's not in it for he's in it for his wage.
So if you want to get your score predictions in TikTok, I will read them
and for
out.
me, that's how it should be across the whole board.
Hi, Jersey, Sophie. Anyone else got anything they want to say?
Yes, I'm going to go on my usual rant, but I think there were a couple of things post-match interview that kind of were a couple of red flags for me. Was I mean, the simple fact of the matter is that everybody in the ground, pretty much everybody that's watched Bradford City this season, could tell Graham Alexander that Bobby Poynton is a very good player, is a dynamic player going forward, and adds something to the team. As Chris said earlier, when him and Walker came off the pitch later on, we lost that little bit of sort of forward momentum. And to be fair enough, the game was won by that point. But it was kind of like, I know he was sort of joking about it, but it's like, oh, well, all the Bradford fans will be telling me I got it wrong. It's like, well, look, they've been telling you all season, Graham. But the other thing that really, I can't remember his exact wording, but I think Jamie Rayner was talking about sort of tying him down. And, oh, no, sorry, before I get to that, he was talking about, well, he's trained well, his attitude's been really good, this, that, and the other. Well, why the hell have you left him out, especially in the previous 4 games where quite clearly there was something wrong with the team, with either the tactics or with the application or with what was going on in the field, and you didn't even have him anywhere near the squad or the first team. So that is really concerning. So is it something personal? Is it something that you're trying to prove to Bobby Poynton, or is he trying to almost like be Wenger-like in terms of being stubborn about, no, we'll do it my way? Personally, I don't think he knows what to do with players that can actually play a bit. And then furthermore to that, when asked about Bobby, and then kind of, I think it was almost, if I've got this slightly wrong in terms of what was said, but he said something like almost like building a team around him, and he was kind of very non-committal on that. Whether that's something that's going on in the background and they won't take up an option, or whether it's just like, for whatever reason, I don't know, but he didn't seem, for me, those signals weren't there in terms of like, yeah, obviously Bobby's a real gem, but saying that, if he did that, that would make him look at it an even bigger tool in my book, because it would kind of like prove the fact that, well, why haven't you played him then if he's somebody to sort of build the team around? So maybe he was being a bit non-committal on that. And yeah, so I'm kind of despairing with that in a sense. So I think it would be criminal if Bobby Poynton isn't playing in a Bradford City shirt, and he probably will be, and I hope he is. But if he's not, I think there's some questions need answering on that. But yeah, so just on my usual sort of not rating Alexander, but that's one thing or a couple of things that stood out for me yesterday. Friday, sorry.
Diane, have you got anything you want to vent about, chat about?
No, because I better try to keep my voice.
Before your voice goes and you start
Got my
speaking.
voice out. I know.
Chris, any last words? Want to chat about?
Yeah, just one point really. Am I right in saying both Poynton and Walker are out of contract at the end of this season?
By all accounts, yes.
If I am, we need to keep, by all accounts. I don't know what you have to throw at it. You need to keep them players. Poynton has got to play tomorrow. He's got to start tomorrow. He can't be on bench and come on. He's got to start. You've got to put the same team on with him and Kavanagh. We're walking in midfield, running the show. It's number 1 point for me. And we've got to set those 2 players and get them on board for next season.
I think, Chris, sorry to jump in there. I think I'd heard that we've got an option on to take up on Bobby's contract for another year, which we're likely to do. But so I can't corroborate that or anything. But I'd heard that, so I would hope that is the case. But I would definitely for next season, have Gilead or Walker as captain, or one sort of team captain, whatever. Definitely. I think Walker's got at least a couple of seasons left in him. I mean, in terms of injuries this season, he had his leg broken by a really kind of cynical tackle against Doncaster away, didn't he? And he was out for weeks with that. For most part.
Sorry, guys, I've got to go.
All right, Chris.
See you, guys.
See you later, Chris.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for that, I think build a team around certain players. So that's all I've got to say on that. That was my little rant, but it will be an ongoing rant. So yeah.
Any more last words, Miss Kelly? Oh, you still there, Kelly?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting ready for work. Yeah, I agree with what Stan's just said. Like Jamie Walker as captain, Bobby Point, and then keep Andy Cook. I think we've gone through all players, haven't we, on a previous podcast. Just get rid of Smallwood. I don't understand why he favours players like Smallwood to the others. He doesn't bring anything to the team, and more so as a captain. He doesn't. It's like I remember being at where were we at Quinton Stanley, and Jamie Walker went off, and he came past the fans, and he didn't get any nothing, no agginess about it. Every single player wanted to shake his hand. Sorry, every single fan wanted to shake his hand as he walked past us all. And to me, that's the kind of players that we need in the squad, and it just works for me.
Okay, so we're gonna do one last thing, and that's Stan's weather forecast. So Stan, if you want to say your line again for me, please.
Yes, the weather forecast is brought to you by Stan Jammer Photography, where capturing your image is my focus. Was that better?
That was better. You've passed. Well done. So the sun rises at 33 minutes past 6 tomorrow, and the sun set at 7:36. And it's going to start off with being a bit wet in the morning in Grimsby, and eventually it will cloud over, and the highest it's going to get is going to be 12 degrees from 4 o'clock onwards, and we'll get a bit of sun, and that's your weather forecast for tomorrow. And leaving on everyone's third and final favourite feature, what is on your plate? So, Stan, what's on your plate today? What have you had for your tea?
Oh, just a mishmash because I had a really nice lunch. I had a really nice Sunday roast at the Fox in Menston today. So I hadn't had much. I just had a sausage roll, bits and bats, nothing really, and a couple of oranges.
Okay, Diane, before your voice goes completely.
Before my voice goes completely, I had a lamb steak with roast potatoes, peas and carrots, but put dry mint herbs on the lamb and cook it in the oven. Dad's told me how to do that.
Miss Kelly?
I've had a sausage and egg cob because it's breakfast for me, isn't it? But yeah, and I'll see you tomorrow, Johnny.
Yep. And I've had a Christmas dinner, and we've actually had two questions in. We've had two from Ben actually. Would we personally like to keep Smallwood or let him go? So would you keep or get rid of Smallwood, Stan?
I'd move on from Smallwood. I think he's overall has been a disappointment. He's had a few good. He's had more than a few good games, but I think not captain material, and there are better players that we can use. So I'd move him on.
Diane, keep or get rid of Smallwood?
In the words of Elsa, let it go.
Let it go. Miss Kelly?
Yeah, let him go. Get McDonald in instead.
Right, it is it. And I'm going to mute there. Let's have it. Press that one to do. So I want to say thank you everybody for coming along. Thank you for everybody on social media, X, Twitch, Twitter, for coming along today. Hope you've enjoyed yourself. If you like what you're hearing, Chickens on the Loose podcast on every podcast service going. Also, we've got a small Facebook group on Facebook, Chickens Up the Chickens on Facebook, where you can do Golden Goal every match day, and also every season we do a Super 6 competition. Hope everybody's had a fantastic Easter. Hopefully we'll get 3 points tomorrow, and also happy Ramadan to everybody who's doing that. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Thank you for watching and listening. Up the Chickens, and hope we get 3 points tomorrow.